Hello students, welcome to Easy Science YouTube channel. Please do subscribe to Easy Science YouTube channel and click the bell icon. You will never miss an update from my channel. So let's move on to the class today. Right, we eat food that contains nutrients. What are the major nutrients present in our food? So there were two major nutrients present in our food. Three major nutrients present in our food: carbohydrates, fats, proteins. So these are considered to be the major nutrients of our body, and every nutrient has its own function. Carbohydrates are necessary for giving energy. That's why carbohydrates are known to be as energy giving food, and fats are known for giving warmth. That's a primary function. Even there is a secondary function for fats, that is they also provide energy, but that's a secondary function. And proteins, the function of the proteins is they are necessary for growth, development, repair of worn out tissues. Right. Now, carbohydrates, we are telling that carbohydrates are necessary because they were considered to be the energy giving food. Right. So, we know that carbohydrates are very complex substances. So, during the process of digestion, carbohydrates are converted into simple substances. What are the simple substances of carbohydrates? It is glucose. Yes. Now this glucose is a very simple substance, so that it get directly absorbed into the blood. Blood transport this glucose to each and every cell present in our body. You know, cell is known to be the structural and functional unit of a living organism. Cell will perform a lot of functions. To perform all its functions, it needs energy, right? It needs energy. Cell needs energy. How do the cell gets energy? By glucose. How do glucose provide energy for the cell? This is important thing, and glucose will provide energy by breakdown. Again, the simple substances glucose will break down and give energy in the presence of oxygen. Energy will be liberated, and that energy will be utilized by the cell for its normal activities or normal functions. And this process, breakdown of glucose in the presence of oxygen to give energy, is termed as respiration. So in today's class we will discuss about respiration. Right, let's move on to the class today. Respiration. So what is respiration? Yes, we come across two terms. Generally, respiration means, nobody will call it as a respiration, right? Everybody says that it is breathing, right? And now we are discussing that it's respiration. Yes. So, is there any difference between these two terms, or these two terms are similar? Yes, these two terms are not similar. There is a difference. Breathing is just exchange of gases. Breathing is termed as just exchange of gases. And now what is respiration, and what do you mean by exchange of gases? See, we need oxygen. Respiration means we always take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. This process only we call it as respiration. But that's not respiration, children. That is just breathing. Taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide is just termed as breathing. Then what is respiration? Respiration is termed as taking in oxygen and utilizing that oxygen for the breakdown of food material to give energy is known as respiration. So that's the main difference between breathing and respiration. That's why breathing is also known as ventilation, or it is also known as external respiration. Now, respiration means taking in oxygen and utilizing that oxygen for giving energy inside the cell. Where this will happen? Inside the cell this will happen. That's why respiration is also known as internal respiration. It is also known as internal respiration or cellular respiration. It is cellular respiration. Yes, right. So this is about breathing and respiration. Now we have two kinds of respiration. We have two kinds of respiration. One is anaerobic respiration. The respiration which takes place in the absence of oxygen is known as anaerobic respiration, and this will be takes place in lower organisms like yeast and bacteria. Even in human beings also this will takes place when there is no sufficient supply of oxygen inside the muscles. It will takes place. So what are the products of anaerobic respiration? As sufficient oxygen is not present, the glucose C6H12O6 will be break down in the absence of oxygen and give rise to ethyl alcohol. It is C2H5OH plus energy, that is 2 ATP will be liberated, and this is in case of yeast. Ethyl alcohol will be liberated, and in case of the bacteria, glucose will be break down in the absence of oxygen to give rise to lactic acid. This is lactic acid, and 2 ATP will be liberated. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. Incomplete breakdown of glucose takes place. This is known as ethyl alcohol, and this is known as lactic acid. Inside our muscles also, if sufficient amount of oxygen is not present, the glucose will break down and gives rise to lactic acid. Remember, anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. As sufficient amount of oxygen is not there, glucose will be break down partially. Incomplete breakdown of glucose takes place. And the second type of respiration is known as aerobic respiration. It's aerobic respiration. Second respiration is known as aerobic, it's aerobic respiration. The respiration which takes place in the presence of oxygen. So it is C6H12O6 plus CO2 plus H2O gives rise to CO2 plus H2O plus 36 ATP will be liberated. So during aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of glucose takes place, so that what happens is a large amount of energy is liberated. The end products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide, water vapor and 36 ATP. The end products of anaerobic respiration are ethyl alcohol and lactic acid, with the liberation of a small amount of energy. Right. Now, let's discuss about the respiratory systems in different organisms, like how do respiration takes place in different kinds of organisms. In case of the unicellular organisms and lower organisms, the respiration takes place through simple diffusion process throughout the body surface. As they contain a single cell, it takes place throughout the body surface. In case of the earthworms, the respiration takes place through moist skin. That's why always earthworms will go deep into the soil, dig burrows and go deep into the soil to keep their skin moist. Because if the skin becomes dry, they will die. Because as the skin becomes dry, respiration do not takes place. So the respiration which takes place through moist skin is known as cutaneous respiration. It is known as cutaneous respiration. And in case of the insects, the respiration takes place through network of tubes, and such respiration we call it as tracheal respiration. And in case of the spiders and scorpions, the respiration takes place through book lungs, aerial respiration. And in case of the fishes, the respiration will take place through gills. It is through gills, and this kind of respiration is known as gill respiration or branchial respiration. The amphibians, which can live both on land and inside the water, like frog, respiration takes place through moist skin. It is through moist skin, and even lungs also they will use. You know, the respiration through moist skin is known as cutaneous respiration. Reminding all the organisms which are living on the land, the terrestrial organisms, the respiration takes place through lungs only. Like we have reptiles, birds and mammals. The respiration takes place through lungs, and respiration through lungs is known as pulmonary respiration. It is pulmonary respiration. Right. Yes, pulmonary respiration. Right. Now, human beings have a well-developed respiratory system, children. And now we have discussed that different organisms have different kinds of respiratory system. What's the reason why different organisms have different kinds of respiration? See, the respiratory system was dependent on some factors. Why these organisms have different kinds of respiratory system? This is dependent on the habitat they were living, like whether they were living in on the land or inside the water, habitat. And the second one is availability of water, and the third one is the type of circulatory system they have. Based on these factors, different organisms have different kinds of respiratory system. And when coming to the human beings, we have a very well developed respiratory system. So let's discuss about the respiratory system of human beings. So the parts of the respiratory system. Let's discuss about the parts of respiratory system. Parts of the respiratory system. The first one is nostrils. Second one is the nasal chamber. The nasal chamber, or we also call it as nasal cavity. Third one is pharynx. And the next part is larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, next we have lungs, and finally we have alveoli. So these are the parts of our respiratory system, and important point, remember this, alveoli are considered to be the structural and functional unit of our respiratory system, because the main function in the respiratory system, that is the exchange of gases, takes place here only. Taking in oxygen and removal of carbon dioxide, that means absorption of oxygen, takes place at this place only. That's why alveoli are considered to be the structural and functional unit of our respiratory system. I hope you all like the video. Please do subscribe to Easy Science YouTube channel and click the bell icon. You will never miss an update from my channel. Thank you.